The conflict between Thailand and Cambodia stands as one of Southeast Asia's lesser-known, yet profoundly complex geopolitical disputes. Unlike the high-profile wars and military confrontations that have drawn international attention, such as the Vietnam War or the conflicts in Myanmar, this particular conflict often played out not on open battlefields, but in the shadows of history, national pride, and long-standing territorial claims. It is a struggle that transcends mere borders. It is rooted in questions of identity, cultural heritage, historical memory, and regional influence that have persisted for centuries. At the heart of this rivalry lies the legacy of the Khmer Empire, a once mighty civilization that dominated large parts of present-day Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam during its zenith in the 9th to 15th centuries. As the Khmer Empire declined in the 13th century, new powers rose to fill the vacuum, most notably the Ayutthaya Kingdom of Siam, modern-day Thailand. Over time, the Thais absorbed many elements of Khmer culture, art, architecture, religious practices, but also took control of territories that had historically been part of the Khmer heartland. These territorial shifts were not solely military victories. They carried symbolic weight, altering maps, and reshaping the identities of entire populations. The fall of one empire and the rise of another did not settle the border question once and for all. Instead, it left a legacy of unresolved grievances and competing narratives. Moving into the colonial era of the 19th century, the geopolitical landscape was further reshaped by European powers. Cambodia became a French protectorate in 1863, and during this period, France meticulously redrew many borders to serve its colonial interests. In 1907, under French pressure, Siam returned the provinces of Battambang, Siem Reap, and Sisophon to Cambodia, but the borders remained contentious. One of the most significant and sensitive areas was the temple complex of Preah Vihear, perched dramatically on a cliff along the border. This temple was not only a religious site, but also a symbol of national pride and cultural identity. The Thais, who had long considered Preah Vihear part of their heritage, were deeply dissatisfied with the transfer, viewing it as an injustice inflicted by colonial powers and a loss of their cultural patrimony. As Cambodia gained independence in 1953, the dispute over Preah Vihear resurfaced with renewed intensity. In 1954, Thailand occupied the temple, claiming it was within its borders, prompting Cambodia to take the issue to the International Court of Justice, ICJ. The court's ruling in 1962 was decisive. It declared that the temple stood on Cambodian territory and ordered Thailand to withdraw its forces. While Thailand complied, the legal victory did little to heal the wounds of cultural and national pride. Many Thais viewed the loss as a profound insult, an assertion that their cultural heritage had been stolen or denied, fueling resentment and nationalist sentiments. For decades, relations between the two nations remained fragile but largely peaceful until the 20th and early 21st centuries saw a resurgence of nationalism fueled by domestic politics, historical grievances, and regional dynamics. The situation escalated in 2008 when UNESCO designated Preah Vihear as a World Heritage Site. While intended to protect and promote cultural heritage, this move was perceived by Thailand as a political statement that implicitly claimed territorial rights over the surrounding land, which was still disputed. The diplomatic tension ignited a series of skirmishes, artillery exchanges, landmine explosions, and troop mobilizations between Thai and Cambodian forces. These clashes resulted in casualties on both sides, including civilians, and displaced thousands of border residents who found themselves caught in the crossfire. What made this conflict particularly tragic was its symbolic dimension. The temple and the land around it had transcended their physical forms to embody notions of national pride, cultural sovereignty, and historical justice. Politicians in both countries exploited the issue to galvanize domestic support, often stoking nationalist fervor to divert attention from internal issues like economic challenges, corruption, or political instability. In classrooms and social media alike, different narratives about the temple's history were propagated, often filled with misinformation and propaganda. What could have been resolved through diplomacy instead became a battleground of perceptions, fueling mistrust and hostility. The media war surrounding the dispute further complicated efforts at resolution. Cambodia portrayed itself as the victim of Thai aggression and sought international support to uphold its sovereignty. Thailand, meanwhile, insisted it was defending its national integrity and cultural rights. The international community, including Siam, the United Nations, and the ICGs, called for calm and diplomatic dialogue, emphasizing peaceful resolution over military confrontation. In 2013, the ICJ clarified its 1962 ruling, stating that the area surrounding the temple also belonged to Cambodia. Although both nations accepted this ruling, albeit reluctantly, the underlying tensions persisted, and mistrust continued to cast a shadow over bilateral relations. Beyond the legal and diplomatic issues, economic interests also played a crucial role. Both countries recognized the potential for border trade, tourism, and cultural exchange around Preah Vihear as opportunities for economic growth. However, ongoing conflict and instability scared off investors and tourists, leading to economic losses and hampering development efforts in the region. The nationalist rhetoric, while rallying domestic support, ultimately hindered the economic potential that could have benefited both nations if they had cooperated constructively. Perhaps most poignantly, amid these disputes, many ordinary people living along the Thai-Cambodian border shared cultural, linguistic, and familial ties that spanned the contested regions. Villagers whose ancestors had lived side by side for generations found themselves divided by modern borders, drawn not by their own choices but imposed by colonial powers and political elites. These communities often bore the brunt of artillery fire and landmine explosions, suffering displacement and loss without understanding the full scope of the geopolitical disputes. Their stories are rarely heard in the international media, yet they embody the human cost of this long-standing conflict. Today, the situation along the Thai-Cambodian border has improved somewhat, with instances of peace and cooperation emerging amid lingering tensions. Joint military exercises, cross-border trade initiatives, and cultural exchanges offer signs of hope that the two nations are seeking pathways toward reconciliation. Both governments have begun to realize that long-term stability and prosperity depend on collaboration rather than conflict. Nevertheless, the scars of the past remain. Border patrols are still vigilant, and political rhetoric can quickly reignite old tensions. The shadows of history are persistent, but so too are the efforts at healing. This forgotten war, so often overshadowed by more prominent conflicts, serves as a powerful lesson in the enduring impact of unresolved historical wounds. It illustrates how international courts can assist in resolving disputes, yet also highlights how nationalism, pride, and emotional narratives can undermine diplomatic efforts. When leaders prioritize emotion over evidence or patriotism over peace, even sacred spaces like temples can become battlegrounds. The conflict reminds us that history is not just a collection of dates and facts. It is a living, breathing force that shapes nations, identities, and relationships across generations. To truly understand the Thai-Cambodian conflict is to recognize its multiple layers: historical, cultural, political, and economic. It is about more than a disputed temple or a piece of land. It is about the long shadows cast by past grievances, colonial legacies, and modern political struggles. The dispute over Preah Vihear has quieted in recent years, but its echoes continue to influence how both countries perceive themselves and each other. It underscores the importance of addressing the roots of conflicts, fostering dialogue grounded in truth and humility, and recognizing that peace requires more than treaties. It demands a willingness to look beyond the past and work together toward a shared future. In conclusion, the story of Thailand and Cambodia's border conflict is not just a regional issue. It is a reflection of the universal challenge of reconciling history with the present, national pride with diplomacy, and cultural identity with territorial integrity. It is a sobering reminder that unresolved wounds can fester and that the true cost of conflict extends far beyond the battlefield. As we move forward, Let us remember that peace is built not only through treaties and agreements, but through understanding, humility, and the courage to confront and heal the wounds of the past, so that sacred spaces and the peoples connected to them can truly find harmony.